Welcome to Pacific Mystery School. We've been going through the numbers in the four suits, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now we come to the tail end of the 4 and we begin to move into the 5. So today we're talking about the 5s. At the tail end of the 4, which is a space of solidification, things begin to break down. The 5 is the power of cataclysm. This is things breaking down, breaking up, coming apart, and falling into pieces, different pieces. Okay, where are we when we come to the 5 in this place of cataclysm? The truth of it all is that the 5s are the cards and the positions in life that are going to grow us the most, because each one of these cards, as we have learned, is an initiation, and in the 5s we get the major initiations that are really going to grow the soul, starting with the 5 of fire, the struggle. So you will remember in the fire we have the 1 is a new beginning spiritually, the 2 is a spiritual vow, the 3 is spiritual growth, the birth of light, the 4 is the church or temple card, as I called it, and here comes the 5, the struggle. How does the 5 arise? It could be a crisis of faith, it could be that kind of spiritual struggle, it could be literally a struggle in the church or the temple. We've seen so many times where the leader starts to have inappropriate sexual relationships with people in the congregation or something like that. Whatever happens, it is a crisis. It's going to create a crisis within us. It's an implosion of energy. All the energy that we had, all the spirit we had suddenly begins to fold in on itself. And we are going to have to find a way to walk through the difficulty of that energy. The 5 of water is a place of the broken heart, because the suit of water is all about emotion, it's all about love. And in the 5 of water, what we see in the picture on the card is we see that same symbol reappearing, the dark pyramid of the past, and it's got 3 cups spilled. The wedding ring again appears in the middle. We have 3 cups spilled in the road. We have 2 cups still standing. When I say spilled in the road, I just got ahead of myself, because what I would like you to do is start by seeing that shape, the dark pyramid of the past, and then transform that in your mind to a road that leads to the future with 2 cups still standing. So even though we have a broken heart in the 5 of water, even though we have 3 cups spilled, we still have 2 cups standing, so we can move to the future and begin to create something new. But we're not going to be able to move on with that until we deal with the part that is spilled. And this is like our lifeblood spilling out. This is where we're crushed. Something has crushed us emotionally in the 5 of water. And it is a very deeply hurtful situation. That after moving out of the stabilization in the water. So in the water, first we open to love. Second, we fall in love, so to speak. Third, we expand in that. Fourth, we solidify it. And fifth comes the broken heart, where everything falls apart. Same with wind. It's the same in the wind. The 5 of wind is called fear. That's what happens after we come into the full state of mastery, and then the state of mastery begins to collapse on us, and we no longer know where we're going. Then we move into a state of fear, which is a state of the mind. One of the things I have not mentioned on these cards, because I'm doing such a fast version, is I have not gone into the astrology on the cards. You can read about the astrology on the cards in Tarot of the Spirit or Kabbalah and Tarot of the Spirit, but I just want to note that every card has astrological meanings on it. And right now, I want to point out the astrology of the 5 of wind, fear, because it just leapt out at me. The astrology on this card is Venus in Aquarius. Venus is all about love. Well, how could that be in the 5 of wind, fear? It's very interesting to me. And what about Aquarius? That's new thought, new ways of knowing, new ways of being. So when I look at this card, I think, oh, okay, the 5 of wind is only because we don't know where we are headed. But what's even scarier is if we actually are beginning to fall in love with a new direction for ourselves, which doesn't match up with where we have been in terms of our mastery. So that's going to generate a lot of fear for us until we begin to come into the next stage. And the next stage for us will be a state of clarity. That will be the 6. Now you also can see very clearly, I think, how these cards have a predictive ability. Because if you're in a 4, there will be a moment where in one way or another, that 4 is going to move into a 5 where it becomes more precarious. But we can also move through the 5 into the 6 where things will rebalance themselves. So we don't have to get stuck in the 5s. A lot of people get stuck in the 5s. And before I talk about that, let me talk for a minute about the 5 of earth. 5 of wind, fear, is about the mind. 5 of earth, the nadir, is about physical struggle. Physical struggle on the physical plane. And so that could be everything from losing money to natural disasters to health problems, anything that can happen that becomes disastrous on the earth plane. That is the nadir, and that follows the place of power. And then we move into this really down place in earth in our lives, which is the 5 of earth, the nadir. So what usually happens is that most people wind up living their lives between the space of the 4 and the 5. So things start falling apart, and when they're falling apart, what we seek to do generally is we seek to restabilize. So then we restabilize, bring everything back into a place of stabilization. That's the 4. And then when it gets disrupted again, it will get disrupted again, because that is the way the universe works. And then we seek to restabilize it. So we go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between the 4 and 5, 4 and 5, 4 and 5 in a continuous loop. And what we really want to do to break out of this is to go forward and to move beyond the 5 into the place of the 6s. And indeed, the 6s are the place that ultimately we want to live in and from on the tree of life and in the tarot of the spirit. So now let us go on directly into the 6s.